So like in my other videos, I'm always using Git to secure my work so that I can always go back in time and so on, and maybe also push that to a server. So what we need to do is using this link here. I will provide this one in the description below, and store the files into our project. Or not the HTML I want to have. Oh, we need to click on raw, right click raw and say save location. And yeah, it's in German, I know. I need to change it. So we save this one. We save this one as well. So what those files do for us is they basically ignore some, oh, we need to add a dot here. I don't know why it got removed. Maybe through Firefox. The ignore file is that we ignore the binary files basically, because we want to build them, or the shaders or the derived data cache and so on. That's not what we want to have in our repository. And the git attributes, that's basically doing git LFS setup, so that we can store binary files into a git repository, and Git will take care about managing those properly. If you don't do this, you will step into trouble. I use these files for all of my projects, so if you like it or not, tell me in the comments below. And I would say we do the following. I'm using a tool here, also linked down in the description below, which is called Git Extensions, and that's basically your UI for doing Git stuff. And we do right click and say create new repository, and we want to create a personal repository, of course. So everything is now created for us, and we can do a right click again and say git extension commit. So that's a very easy way in my view to work with Git. If you're not familiar with the console commands, and we can select them, those files here, and these green files are basically new files, and they are prepared for us so that we can move them into the staging phase. That's how it's called in Git. And here we then can give it a name. So I always say initial project, initial repository, repository setup. And then you can click on commit. Everything is added. And if we quickly check those files with F5, update the stuff. So that's all the files you want to have. So I press Ctrl A and S, which is the same as you do right click and say stage. And then we say add third person template. And we say commit again. So then we can close it. And if you want to see what is going on in Git, I use the history a lot. So here we can see our 2 commits basically. And if you click here on diff, then you see the difference between those files. They are all binary, but these are text files, so you can see them here, the difference. Here's the project setup. Of course, we did not do yet many changes, but later in the C++ code we will see some differences. And I would say that's basically enough to work with Git. You definitely need to read the documentation or doing some more tutorials about it, because Git is very overwhelming the first time, but once you master it, it's very convenient, really. It's just a matter of a few commands, and then you can do a lot of stuff with it already. So I would say we move on to the next session, and I really wish you a good success in your Git journey.